the heroes of the other members, like the Beatrix that has just been so amazing on the hands of Fly Chicken. The Lolita, we haven't seen this ban at all, but we've seen that right now it is still
So
standing
guys,
at a
supportan natin
very
yung
high
Blacklist
win rate.
International
Absolutely.
Philippines.
Alright, high win rates, we've got a general idea, and I'm glad that we're seeing that the first hurdle for BTK has been achieved, but now we are looking back at it. It is going to be Blacklist International still on the blue side, BTK on the red. We're seeing the bans, Roger, Natan, as well as Yishin Shin. They're sticking to their guns. BTK bans out the Eve, the failure, as well as the Clint immediately.
Philippines versus United States of America. Blacklist International versus
They
BTK.
take this Beatrix away from BTK in the first pick. However, BTK
So guys,
will
Blacklist
go for the
International po
Esmeralda.
tayo
This is one of their comfort
for
picks as well.
Philippines.
Maybe they get the Eve or Farsight or Farsight.
So magagaling itong
Eve was
Blacklist
already banned out, and I
International.
was about to say Farsight. They take it. Now Blacklist. What do they go for? the Estes once again?
See, that's the thing. That's what I was thinking about. It's like, is Estes going to be the way to go this time round? I mean, the Lydia did a really good job here, especially, like, you know, controlling that area and, you know, baiting out the spells. And then when you all is said and done, Black Shoes away. But now with Farsa, are we expecting the same performance?
Honestly, for Blacklist International, right now, I feel like the Estes can come through and still can be really good, especially when combined with something like that Barret, a very tanky jungler right now, but look at the response. You pick the Barret, we're going for more burst, and the Lunox is going to be the answer. But remember, the 3 times that this hero has been picked, it hasn't found any success in the M3 stage.
See, for Lunox, it does deal so much damage. Person-based damage against the Barrets, it's definitely an answer. But this Barret is really threatening because this could be an XP lane pick, but it can also be a jungler pick for Blacklist International. The flex picks really coming out there. And what if Blacklist International gets something like a Thams for Edward to control this Esmeralda, or maybe a Paquito even?
That's right. Thing, right? We're seeing a couple of picks that are just slipping through the cast. You can't just ban all of somebody's hero pool. You're leaving some of the stronger meta picks, and even though Paquito isn't as hyper dominant as we saw previously or earlier this year for multiple MPLs, it still kind of does the job.
Yeah. Absolutely. Not that it just does the job, it does the job really, really well at that right now.
Right.
We'll see what happens here because Blacklist International, they are going to be taking one hero away. It is going to be the Lolita. I mentioned it, and instantly, right now, both my predictions have been correct, taking away the Beatrix and the Lolita away from BTK. But same thing goes for BTK. They know that Barret's can be flexed. We do not want to let this Alice up and open, especially when you combine it with the Estes.
How about a Saber though? Blacklist International, again, in the most Bonchan-esque way of drafting, they adapt like in a snap. When it comes to drafting,
Shout out
that really is the
Vlogs
stronger suit of Blacklist
for support. Thank you,
International. They're
Ate
scary at
Tessa.
best of ones, but they're even scarier in long series, like a best of 5, for example, because they definitely adapt. Now, with the Beatrix still against BTK, I will not be surprised if the Saber will also be banned, as these are the ingredients that BTK won with against an Estes team.
But then they get Balmond again, right?
Yes.
And they still have plenty of options. Even though they don't have the marksman, they still have things to play. Matilda gets banned out. This is something that I wanted to bring up, actually, because BTK would have had a really nasty composition if they had Matilda. Just constant ways of, are you in trouble? Don't worry, guiding wins. And whenever that's done, don't worry, Falling Star Moon. We also have Wings by Wings, as well as the Brilliance.
Absolutely, but we do need to take account for BTK right now. They don't have any
BTK
physical damage. Right now, all their
versus
damage output
Blacklist
is magical.
International.
So, for the side of Blacklist International, it's actually going to be it's going to be easier going into the second phase of the draft. BTK, it is already very, very predictable, I should say. You need a physical damage hero right now, and Blacklist, they're just going to have to adapt.
Shout
They're going to have to
out
fix,
kay
like,
Ate
know their
Tessa.
matchups here when it comes to the draft.
Loves.
BTK, with their pick,
Mega
I
love shout out
think
sa iyo,
it
Ate
might
Tessa.
be an assassin again, or maybe even the Bowman here. No,
Sa lahat
look
po
at the
ng
group
walang
from first.
jacket
So
yan,
still
so hindi
putting
ako
a
makapagbibigay
Mobile
ng
onto that
jacket
last
kasi
pick.
isa lang yung phone
80%
ko.
win rate across the board for Skofra. That was really, really, really surprising to me. But you have to look for the Kufra in a way that it is always comboed with something like Farsa, for example. That's a scary combo of Blacklist International, Hylas, and Alice.
Whoa, we haven't seen Alice in a very long time. It looks like they need some form of scaling and more damage, and Alice infinitely scales. It's just, it's going to work out really nicely for Blacklist International, rounding up the composition. They've got the Beatrix for that physical, they've got the Alice for the magical, and we get the Balmond again coming out from BTK side. It's a tough call, but who do you you think scales a little bit better here?
Scales, for sure, I have to say it is going to be Blacklist International, but honestly,
Magagaling
I feel
itong
like
Blacklist
BTK
International,
has just
pero
won the
magaling din yung
draft.
kalaban nila,
Sure,
guys.
scaling-wise, it is going to be a Blacklist, but matchup-wise, you have that Lunox, you have that Farsa.
Yeah.
Sure, they can scale as well, and guess what? They are natural counters to the Barretts, to that, what was the last hero that was
It
picked
was
up?
Hylos.
To the Hylos as well. All these tanky heroes can be completely shredded in that late game, and in the early game, I feel like Blacklist are not going to be able to do as much as they would usually.
Well, I mean, that's one story to tell. The only way to decide is by making history here in the Land of Dawn. It's going to be Blacklist versus BTK. Are you ready for it? The lineups are ready. It's time to head into the Land of Dawn. Welcome to
So, magsisimula na yung laban,
game
guys.
number 2.
As much as the Lunox is great versus so many of the heroes of Blacklist International, such as the Barretts, the Hylos, as well as the Alice, arguably, the problem is there are 3 of them all together in one draft. That's why I feel that maybe this Lunox will have so much of a problem. I mean, technically speaking, does have the kit to deal against the tanky heroes of Blacklist International, but all of them all together, that's a different question. Now, another question, another puzzle that we need to kind of answer is that what will be the laning, right? I think that this is a Barrett in the jungle. Maybe explain Hylos, Beatrix in the mid lane, Estes in the roam role, and Alice in the gold lane. See, that's who will actually pull up something like that, right? Only Blacklist, I think, will be brave enough to do that.
I mean, we got Torak in Malaysia, so
Well, that's
another one. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing. We all got
Okay,
our own
yeah.
bit of flavors here.
That's
Come
right,
on,
that's
guys.
right.
But I overall want to talk a little bit more and kind of delve deeper into these lane matches here, especially when it comes down to the Esmeralda.
Fem 3 was nothing short of spec.
Kaya yun, na-forward ko.
Piso, oh. Ito.
Kaya ko to. Ilang beses mo na sinabi ito sa sarili mo.
What happens here, because Blacklist International, they are going to be taking one hero away. It is going to be the Lolita. I mentioned it, and instantly, right now, both my predictions have been correct, taking away the Beatrix and the Lolita away from BTK, but same thing goes for BTK. They know that Barretts can be flexed. We do not want to let this Alice up and
Na-forward ko yung ano.
and that was just the reason that everyone started to copy it. It was so dominant in lane. Something like this, sure, you won't have a lot of mana for the most part, but you're going to do a lot of damage. And against someone like the Esmeralda, that's what you want to do. You want to
Hindi ako
completely bully her. You want
makapag-jacket
to just
kasi
take her out of the lane as fast as possible.
isa lang
And
yung
gets the
phone
job
ko
done.
at
We were talking
sa
about a lot of
pasensya na
throwback,
po.
right? Like back in 2019,
Sige lang.
during the first M Championship, the Hylos was the real pick against the Esmeralda. It was their quote-unquote counter. Back in MSC
May
Esmeralda,
love shoutout
you
sa'yo,
were there,
Johnstone
Manila.
TV.
Back then, yeah, that was the answer. So, theoretically speaking, it works. And like Mirko said, in Indonesia, it has been used before. This time, against Edward using it, maybe that's the question mark, because I have not seen Edward really use it.
I mean, it can't be that difficult, right?
Of course.
It's a high loss, right?
Yeah, sure,
Am I missing out something here? I feel like I'm not missing out anything.
Yeah, not at all.
But yes, in terms of this Lunox pick as well, I think Lunox is going to play a vast majority of that damage on top of that Farsa, but it's still something that they're kind of stacking upon, right? It's a lot of magic damage. It can be itemized against.
Honestly, I do want to speak about that high loss pick a little bit more right now, since again, Wolf has just mentioned, this is, we haven't seen Edward play this high loss before. Sure, it is not a very high mechanical hero, but that's the thing. Usually Edward, he loves playing the Poquito, he loves playing these high mechanical heroes, these flashy heroes at that, and coming into this kind of hero, will he be out of his comfort zone? Will he actually be weaker than the other heroes that he usually plays?
I think I've seen that before, like when you give like highly mechanical skill players like Carl
Anti-mage,
TC,
dude.
like anti-mage as well, right? Carl TC was given a hero like Export. It just doesn't like register in my head.
I don't have to tap buttons multiple times. What is this?
What is this?
What is this hero?
I don't need to be constantly looking everywhere at every given time. Yeah, it's just really weird to see these players that have just shown such a high level of mechanical play using these kind of heroes.
Yeah, Lucy, they call this the joystick hero.
The joystick hero.
Yeah, the joystick.
That's a great way of describing him here. But for all of you watching M3 right now, so far we need to have a quick game remake here. Looks like something has occurred. We want to make sure that competitive integrity is maintained, that these players have everything that they need to play at the highest level. No excuses. This is M3. We ain't going to go, yeah, we're just going to deal with it. Not this time. You have to have everything set and proper.
Absolutely, but now that we do have the time, I really want to get into the mental state of the players, because as we said, coming into this, there was so much set up for Blacklist. They are the back-to-back champions. They're the runners-up of MSC, MPLI, right? They've been through it all, but they have yet to get that international trophy. And against BTK, a team who's relatively unknown in terms of, the greater scheme of things, right? They don't have their own MPL. It is not a developed region just yet for MLBB, but they're already showing this much confidence. For a Blacklist, is it too much pressure for them going up against the literal underdogs here?
Honestly, I think that's what makes them so exciting, that just by raw talent and understanding and just brains, they're no coach as well. They got no coach. It's amazing to see what they're able and capable of.
Yeah, and that. Again, they failed a lot. With Onyx Philippines, Onyx Esports, and many other teams in the Philippines as well, they failed. But guess what? It only takes break the code with K in it to actually take down the Blacklist International. I think this is a big morale boost for them.
Huge, huge. I mean, even in coding languages, even if it's something not C, it's a K, the whole entire program is not going to compile and will fail on the run. So it's something interesting, and I want to see whether BTK is one of those teams where it's like, is the pressure what's keeping
Mega
them
love
going?
shoutout kay
What's
Tanya
exactly
Mills
their
from Jess.
motivation
Salamat
here
sa
to
support.
keep on pushing forward?
Honestly, that's the question, right? For BTK, they want their region to be finally known to the world. They
You're
want that
truly
notoriety. They
GMF
want
support.
that
Salamat.
championship title.
Mega
And now
shoutout
we're going to get
kay
straight
yours
into the
truly.
game. Let's see if they can do it, Gideon.
Let's see whether or not they can get the recognition that they so highly want here for the North American region, as Blacklist International looks to troubleshoot the code here in game number 2. Now, looking at the lane assignment so far, I mean, it's Lunox up against Alice, pretty casual, pretty normal here, but it's going to be Hylos in the jungle.
Hylos Jungle. Alright, so we guess it
Oh, maganda yung ano nila.
incorrectly.
Hylos
Hylos is
Jungle.
still going to be the matchup against Esmeralda. Still pretty decent.
Wise.
I wonder what this means.
Yeah, no, that is
Magaling na Korean si Wise.
There's already a fight going on here as Mobile
Gamit niya po yan yung Hylos.
zoned away.
Yep, they're just making sure that they're escorting Haji around, making sure they can use Wise as just early game tank pressure to do the work. And honestly, I don't want to be that guy, but we've seen High Loss Jungle before here at MPL MY. We're not proud of it sometimes, but this might prove otherwise that this could be an effective strategy as they move in towards the orange side. Boba Zane having to deal with this, realizing this is not exactly the best position as they haven't hit level 4. They get the immediate hit. Shark looking for the engage to zone the rest off. Why Chicken might be able to get into the back line here. Yes, Wise steals away the orange, but Moba Zane is going to have to run it out.
sakit niya si
Can they
Wise.
get some form of a kill as Shark is on the run? Victor here to join. Oh my penis. Soft run, and yes, they find the first kill. Onto the jungler. A second one has been slain. First blood by Razor
first
going
blood
over
yung
to BTK.
Philippines. Blacklist
Listen, you see this, man?
International.
They want to group up, but BTK as well. They rotate every single member to that top side. Victor, actually, he left his lane without even clearing the way. He's like, I need to get to my team, and that proved to be great for this team.
9 heroes in the turtle pit around the orange bomb as well as the rock Orsa. That is crazy, and we're gonna see the replay there. Definitely, I'm liking the idea of Blacklist International. Have Wise on the Hylos.
So, napatay yung
on top of
dalawang,
all the heroes of the
hero
members of
ng
BTK. But then
Philippines.
again, even if you're a Hylos with the Estes, if there are 5 heroes on top of you, you're gonna be taken out. And unfortunately, the strategy coming up from Blacklist International backfired heavily as they have done so much.
Oh, it's another fight already here. Glorious Pathway's already down. She is the
Oh,
next
bumawi
opponent.
tuloy yung
Turtle
Philippines.
King tries to get out. He needs a kill. No, he doesn't find it here.
Oh,
Shark trying to go for a re-engagement here as we see Edward. Daytona's welcome. Actually might be saving the man, but they secure the kill off towards the outside. Victor can only do so much. Oh, the Frost Moon shield keeps him strong. Oh, I'm not entirely sure how the engagement even started to begin with, but They have to protect
Napakagandang
this
laban.
purple here. Wise wants it. Bennett's Rage going to be coming out. They zone away. Mobazane having to use the lethal counter to secure his own purple.
So nakabawi yung
Response by
Philippines,
the side of
guys.
Blacklist International, man. They know BTK. That again. The reason BTK was able to win that fight just now is because they isolated. You can see BTK when that orange buff fight happened. They were able to. Did you see the shot selection by them?
Yeah.
The Kufra targeted towards the Estes, and everyone else targeted towards Wise. So by that, Wise wouldn't be able to get the resource to get the healing. But look at this. It is already Blacklist once again trying to look for the proactive plays in that top side.
I like it. I actually kind of like it coming in from Blacklist International. They've completely plated the top side and taken away all the energy shields and maximized on that gold.
And one thing that Blacklist International did all throughout this game is to punish BTK from grouping up, because BTK really wanted to group up. And what normally happens is that you leave your lanes. Turn energy shields.
I'm sweating there. I'm so sorry, Wolf. That's some pucker factor right there. Ooh,
Johnstorm TV, siguro naaliw lang sila sa sayaw mo. Pang-viral talaga yung sayaw mo, Johnstorm TV.
Yeah, one thing for Blacklist International, and most particularly on my Venus, he's got a lot of composure, I guess, the word I'm looking for. He knows when to pop his ultimate or when not to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Oh My Venus is one of those players who has had that veteranship.
Doon kasi sila nakabang sa sayaw mo, Johnstorm TV.
Tempered like steel here. Another game pause is going to be, I'm not entirely sure what the issue is going to be, but we'll fix it in the meantime. We got to trust that the system works.
Yeah, you talked about how veterancy can come, or veteranship might come from Oh My Venus. Fun fact, Oh My Venus and Wise, they also represented the Philippines before, back in M1. But they were still part of Onyx Philippines, who also represents the Philippines today. And so this is not the first time. In fact, there are three two-timers already for the world stage for Blacklist International. So that is amazing. Yet to get their championship, eventual championship in the international stage, as you have also brought up.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that's got to be frustrating for Blacklist International, right? They get ever so close to clinching an international title, and then some other team just has to steal it away right at the last second.
Yeah.
Honestly, like looking at it right now, BTK, they really need to play it smart, because already we're seeing them. They're already over greedy sometimes right now. After getting that first game, which was very clean, clean is an understatement. They played that perfectly, but in the second game, we already see they played it really well in the early stages, but they're getting overzealous here.
Yeah.
They see that they weren't actually in position to take that turtle, but they still forced it anyways, and that was the reason Blacklist was able to capitalize. So if BTK just stays in composure, plays the way they've been doing from the first game all the way up until that first blood, I feel like they have a solid chance at beating the tournament favorites.
To add on to that, actually, I think a lot of this game is going to come down to just overall engagement and positioning coming in from both of the sports, Oh My Venus and Shark. Because Shark, there's a lot more pressure on him to look to disengage and peel for the rest of his team. But Oh My Venus is going to be super, super key in making sure that no matter what they do, it's going to go unpunished, or they're just winning by an overwhelming life lead.
Absolutely. Now BTK, again, they are not in the right position to try to contest for this turtle, but it seems like they want to still try to go in right now, with Wise basically zoning everyone away. It seems
ni
like
Wise.
uncontested. That's what I want to see. Just let it go.
Turtle going to be by the STB. Now the dive on towards Fire Chicken has been initiated. Shark looking to bail his team out. Yes, he finds it. Collides him with all of the Tyrant's rage. And here comes Mobazane to
Pero wala yan, ay Estes eh. Nagahil po yun si Estes, kaya medyo nadagdagan yung mga light ng Philippines.
Coming in from Blacklist International. Oheb raising his hands. You punish me.
Salamat, Pipito Vloggers.
This is one of
Sa
the heroes
pagpunta,
that
mega
gave
love
him
shoutout
that
sa'yo.
the moniker Oheb. God, my goodness! A three-man black hole. And he is just recalling
Ito, si Pipito Vlogs.
That was amazing from Shark.
Mobile Legend po yung niya, laro niya.
International.
Parehas kami tatlo ni Johnstorm TV.
Shot selection once again with the Tyrant's Revenge. And then pops the ultimate. Good combo with Zia on the ultimate. That's like the dream combo for BTK, right? And then you jump in with Quiet Chicken. Unfortunately, Oh My Venus was just ready with the ultimate. So that keeps Blacklist International top out. And what I like about Blacklist International is they took them the turret with them.
Oh, and we're almost getting died, but here comes the glorious pathway coming in from Wise. Haji looking to actually punish somebody here. Zia quickly disengaging the entire team, saying, hey, you can calm down here for a second. Feathered airstrike will keep you at bay. But Victor really testing his luck here with Haji. Oh, he bakes it out.
Naku, napakaganda yung set ng Cupra. Kaso may Estes.
If Haji died, Mobile would have had enough HP to maybe get out of there.
Welcome to the ultimate bonding experience right now as Blacklist just completely take BTK down in that bottom side. But this is what I love about Blacklist. They're finally getting their jam here in the playoff stage, and look at what they're able to do. Sure, BTK
PM ko sa'yo, Pipito Vlogs, para laro tayo.
reads their opponent's ways to play, and now they are on this the siege, man.
BTK, they have found a good opening in the bottom lane, but unfortunately, their skill shots weren't really that precise. I mean to say, the timing wasn't off. I mean, they started with a lethal counter, which normally should be your skill to take down the members of Blacklist International after you already dealt the damage. The thing is, you should be using your lethal counter as definitely a closer for a team fight, because you need that execute kind of mechanic wherein you take down the members of Blacklist International before Oh My Venus heals them up.
Well, I mean, it's about the initial burst, I suppose. I guess they wanted to make sure, hey, maybe we could burst Oh My Venus in time. The next turtle going over to Blacklist International, who have developed a 6K gold lead here on their side, 7 minutes into the game. Right now, we have to keep an eye on a couple of people here from the side of BTK. Zia, he's going to eventually scale up, and that's going to be a really big factor in terms of, chipping them down into that lethal counter range.
One of the glaring mistakes I feel like from the side of BTK is that they've been getting a lot of crazy engages, actually a really good engages, but they don't have the damage yet. They need to scale it up a little bit more. Again, they're playing the Farsa, Lunox, and Esmeralda. They need to wait until those item power spikes finally hit, because they've just been way too fast on these fights.
Guys.
Threat level is just too high, but here comes Blacklist International. Potential dive onto Victor's side here. OHEB going to go back into lane, and it looks like they're playing cross-map here. They're going to take the sacrifice here too. Victor knows he can't do much about the situation, and same goes for OHEB. They both just have to wait it out. Flowing blood comes through. He's not going to engage this, right? But Inhibitor, are they going to just sacrifice the Inhibitor turret? Bottom tier 1 goes down. Inhibitor turret is still alive here. Fried Chicken going in for the full-on fight against OHEB. The Doctor is just not enough.
Napakagaling yan si OHEB.
Is able to take on one. Can he get one?
Dali kayo lahat dun.
He fights it. It's gonna be a 1v2 as OHEB is ready to rumble. Daytona's welcome onto Shark, and it's gonna be an easy triple
Blacklist
kill
International ang
for the
pinakamagaling sa
man, the
Pilipinas,
myth, the
pati
legend,
execution.
OHEB.
You don't cross-map against this guy, man. We all know what OHEB can do. He got the Maniac on Beatrix in the group stage, and
Nice,
he's gonna
OHEB.
get that triple kill to basically shut BTK down in the early phase.
That was what I always called the awkward Lunox jump with the ultimate from the darkness, right? You always want to hit with your ultimate from the darkness and also get another chaos bolt up.
Napakasakit, no?
Flowing blood damage from
Nakastack
OHEB
yung
takes out
Alice.
Even an Esmeralda, that's when you know this is gonna get tough. And the going only gets tougher as tier 2.
Di makalapit si Farsa.
Lord is up and running. Does Blacklist International want to get a little greedy here and force the player? Wait for Luminous Lord. It looks like they're gonna go for the green and press the advantage.
Hylos, pwede pala pang jungle.
Again, we saw
Napakasakit.
BTK. They were able to
Kahit
get
tank
that
lang gani yung
10,000
Hylos,
gold against
napakasakit
Blacklist
na.
International, but I feel like Blacklist, they just do so much more with the leads that they have. They're able to snowball much more efficiently, and that is why you can't make those mistakes against this team. You make one tiny mistake in that turtle pit, and it all just comes crumbling down. Everything you've been able to build, it just gets completely bulldozed by Blacklist.
Mukhang tatapusin na ng Philippines.
BTK, they need to rely on their wave clear. They have the Farsa. At least Zia will be so instrumental in this defense. Mobazane, unfortunately, went for offensive items instead of something like Radiant Armor or maybe something along the lines of Athena Shield. So he's gonna melt if he stays on top of the minion wave. So in order for BTK to defend themselves, they have to have good positioning, and Zia needs to smartly use his ultimate, not pop it, not smartly.
Yeah, he's got to be very, very careful here.
Wala na,
Now,
mahirapan
on
na
that top
sila.
side, they're already using the siege mechanics. So what Edward and Wise
Panalo ng
Glorious
Philippines
pathway making
nito.
it impossible to even get on top of them. Lord is coming through. They should be able to shred this, no issues whatsoever. But how many inhibitors is this going to take? Shark, he's looking for something. Blacklist is going to back away. Edward giving them plenty of vision. Bennett's rage is coming down too. They're just going to shred 2 inhibitor turns 10 minutes in towards this game. OHEB's lead. Can they get one more? They've stacked this perfectly as Fried Chicken and Mobazane can't really do much about it. The Biru's passion comes on.
Hindi, mabilis lang ito pag natapos na ito.
Clean inhibitors coming in from Blacklist International.
You know it's over when you don't even need minions to siege into the base, man. That mid lane inhibitor, that was brutal by
Hindi
Blacklist
siguro
International.
aabot ito ng 1
right
hour
now,
at
BTK,
Itesa.
honestly, they can't really make any plays, any macro plays, even proactive on the map anymore.
Naabangan
It's
ko lang
just
kasi itong
controlling
Blacklist
everything
International,
and anything
Philippines.
at this point. We'll just see how BTK handles this.
Naku,
Yep,
kasakit
going in
to.
on top of Fried Chicken already, forcing out the Brilliance very early on here. And right now, I think this might just be checkmate for
Super
BTK.
minions na.
Blacklist
Panalo
International
ng
cannot let them get
Philippines.
their win conditions, and they want to end this game as early as possible. Menace Rage coming on through as Edward and Wise stopping the feathered airstrike. They can't click away the godline coming in from Oheb as he is making sure he's completely zoning them out. This
Nandun na
is
sila sa
going to
Tony
be
na
it.
kalaban.
Blacklist International, the PH fans have been waiting for.
Naku,
You can't
wala
just break
na.
the code that easily.
GG.
You're gonna have to do it 2 more
So,
times in
Blacklist
this matchup.
International yung nanalo.
Well played to Blacklist International.
Breaking the code is what they want. You want them to break the code. We'll completely just fix it.
So,
over
congratulations,
just a
Blacklist
few minutes.
International
And that's why
Philippines.
this team is so magical. This is why they're the tournament favorites. Instantly, they were dominated in the first game. No worries, no pressure whatsoever. We got everyone here just learning instantly, and you can see the evolution already. They managed to adapt so fast, even when they were behind in that first moment, man.
So,
Now,
may
the
second
word
game
that
pa.
Eugene actually used, Miracle, troubleshooting. That's
Troubleshooting,
exactly
yes.
what
Sinong mananalo
Blacklist
dito, yun
International
ang
did in
one,
this particular
win.
game. Using the high-loss, not in the XPLA, but in the jungler role, as well as the fact that they utilized Alice. Oh my goodness! Oheb was phenomenal in this particular game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I gotta give
Sa
it to
lahat po
BTK.
na
I
sa
gotta
live
give them
ko,
some credit.
thank
They
you,
had
thank
some
you
really
sa
smart
suporta.
bait
Keep
plays.
safe always.
Very, very smart bait plays to kind of get a very clean engagement coming in from Shark. However, with the sustainability coming in from Alice, I don't think they were ready at how strong Oheb was at that point. And even for me, after the first initial engagement failed, and Oheb finally got that lead, and they tried it one more time with the help of Oh My Venus to completely shut them off, the game just got so rough.
Maybe the stark difference between the two teams' playstyle is that Blacklist International, they leave so much room for mistakes, but for BTK, they are so all in. That was true with their group stage matches, that is true with their game 1, and that's also true with their game 2. They have to go all in as soon as possible.
Well, that's it gonna be from the casters. Let's throw it over to our 2 L's here at the analyst sets. Let's throw it over to LaFell as well as Leo.
And just like that, Blacklist seems to have woken up and is ready to play in the playoffs. Here at the analyst
Naku,
stand,
tama na
I'm
yun,
Kuya
mga
Watcher Service, joined by LaFell and my guy. What a game. They had to bring out the secret weapon, but Blacklist evens the score.
Tama na yung Marites nyo, i-play nyo na para mabilis.
It really made them different. Now the thing is, we
Nagmamarites
have to
pa
look
itong
at
mga
3 different
reporters.
factors of this game, where in the side of Team BTK, they
Tama
have
na yung
3
Marites
scaling
nyo, i-play
mages.
nyo na.
The other one is that
13.
how tanky the Blacklist lineup is, and we gotta talk about Oheb.
Oh yeah, Oheb on that Alice. It's a signature pick, and here he really felt like he was in his element.
Yeah, the thing is, in terms of how BTK played, we saw that what Blacklist wanted to do was they wanted to go very aggressive, trying to shut down what was in the early stages of the game. Bellman has a lot of damage because, again, the second skill, it will scale up, and they just don't have enough defensive capabilities to fight against the Bellman level 1.
Yep, and at that point, basically for Blacklist, it was in the bag. Speaking of bags, we would like to shout out Tumi, the leading international performance luxury brand designed Tumi Esports Pro level bags and accessories for gamers on the go. And in this bag, there will be a lot of bits, gears, items that these teams have brought in, and we'll be checking that in just a bit. You were mentioning that high-loss, the early game pressure. We saw it in the jungle here. I believe for a majority of our audience, it's the first time that they're seeing in pro play a high-loss in the jungle. How did that work out?
Okay, so a few of the things that we do have to bring up is that this is the difference between Mobazane and coming in from Wise as the jungler coming in from Blacklist, where Wise is more of a supportive kind of role, where he helps out everyone in the team. He can help the engage, he can help the disengage, and such. On the side of Mobazane, he's more carry-oriented. Right now, let's looking at the items, and the items coming in from the Hylos, he has, like, he's optimizing the build that he has to make sure that he's very, very tanky, as well as he can actually go diving to the backside and destroy anyone. Over here, I'm looking at Zia as well as White Chicken, because both of these players have been shut down. And in terms of what Blacklist did, OHAB had a very good time over here, 9-0-2, because if you look at the heroes coming in from BTK, this is the major problem. They have 3 scaling mages where they needed more items to make sure that they deal enough damage, but by the time they have created their items from the side of Blacklist International, they can itemize against it, making it very good. But because OHAB is so far ahead, he doesn't even need a defensive item.
You're right, exactly right. In under 12 minutes, OHAB was able to complete his arsenal, a complete slew of magical damage items. And at that point, we were talking about it backstage. When is BTK going to start to build the Athena shield? When are they going to get Radiant armor? And at that point, might have been too late.
Yeah, right now, looking at the damage coming in from both of these teams, it's unsurprising the damage coming out from OHAB is going to be the highest, 58,000 damage going out from the side of Team BTK. Zia and White Chicken, they tried their best. But again, from the side of Blacklist, they're too tanky. And even when they're about to go down, the amount of heals coming in is too big. 190,000 total heals for Team Blacklist International.
And that spells a very interesting story here. It weaves an interesting tale because it's deceptively honest, right? You have just 2 main sources of damage, and then the 3 others on the side of Blacklist are just there to basically put up a wall. And these 2 sources of damage, they have great coverage. You have the dive, you have the sustain on OHAB, on the Alice, and then you have the poke. You have the physical from the Beatrix on Haji. And sometimes all you need to do is just be essential. Cover the basis, the fundamentals of your strategy. And BTK, it was just too much for them. I love it. The story of the series so far, Lafel, is both teams playing on their strengths and taking a game each.
Salamat, Ate
Again,
Tessa.
looking at the line over here, in terms of the heroes, for Blacklist International, the reason why they are looking so good is because from the side of BTK, they do not have enough DPS. They do not have the damage per second. But right now, we're looking at the MVP of the game going in to OHAB with that Alice with a crazy 9-0-2 score.
9 kills,
And you
no,
just mentioned
no
the
kill.
DPS, the damage, the burst, to take down this sustain
Galing
mage that
talaga ni
OHAB is
OHAB.
just so good at. Any league, any tournament he goes into, he makes a statement with the Alice, which we haven't really seen much in M3.
This is the first time. This is the first Alice, and
Pareha
he
sila
really
ni
showed up. He's like,
Kern,
alright, now a
Kindra
lot of people play
sa
Alice. Let me
Exploration.
remind you how terrifying it is. In the early stage of the game, sure, wanted to get some stacks, just wanted to scale up, getting your level 4, getting your items. But once he's ready, the thing is, who can actually peel OHAB away from the backline? No one can do anything. They just have to be there, and they just have to take it.
Yep, even Kufra, even Shark had such trouble. We're going to see that in the highlights right now.
Yeah, right now, looking at the highlights, this is the first game where we can definitely see, in terms of how BTK played, they controlled the tempo very, very well. They took this game on their own hands. And team from the side of Blacklist International, they couldn't do much because what they wanted to do was they wanted to group up. But team BTK, they made sure that if you want to group up, sure, that's good, but you're going to get heavily punished.
That's the story of game 1 where we're seeing that very, very aggressive style from BTK, and that's how they scored that first victory in this series. And looking at just how perfect this execution was, it's definitely a North American flavor. And there it is, the face check. Renner to the face again.
He had his shield up, and he still got popped. That is how damaging it is. And right now, looking at the second game, this is a completely different story, where from the side of Blacklist International, they're too tanky. And look at this, a crazy 4-man engage. That's definitely the highlight of this game. And ever since then, it's all Blacklist.
Yep. Oh, here's another one where OHAB, in effect, did a 3v1. Edward to the rescue as well. Shark, again, we talk about Shark. He can only do so much as a Kufra. And now, looking at the lineup of BTK, they were really just walking into Edward's Detna's welcome. He was welcoming them with open arms, and at this point, we can say it was over. Blacklist International felt at home with this lineup, and BTK, now they have to figure out a new solution.
Yeah, and looking at all of the highlights, I'm pretty sure a lot of fans as well at home is looking at the Hylos being the jungler. He even used the jungle emblem, which not a lot of people use. However, in this game, it does make sense because Hylos does not have the fastest clear out of every hero in Mobile Legends right now. So having just a little bit more help over there, making sure that he can really control the objectives, which again, he did. He secured basically all the turtles.
Yeah, and that's essentially what happened here. Will Blacklist field the jungle Hylos once more, or will they try to go a little sneaky and bring out another secret weapon to make the score 2-1, put him at match point? We're about to find out. Currently, we're sitting at evens, 1-1 BTK versus Blacklist. This match is going to be resuming very shortly. On behalf of the casters, Gideon, Mirko, Wolf, it's the analyst stand here with LaFell and Leo. Stay with us. This is M3, presented by TikTok Live, supported by the Singaporean Tourism Board, and powered by Moonton. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Light pa?
I'm burning up now, taking higher levels. I'm in a bad spot, trouble to my knees. I need a taste of alone heaven. You got me waiting for you. We're chasing trophies, got me ready, don't you worry. I feel the power, I'm the champion. You got me running for the glory. Good to let this go. Burning up now, nothing's gonna stop me. I'm going faster, wanna break away. I love the way it feels. It's the adrenaline, we going all the way. 'Cause we never ever going down. You got me walking through the fire. We don't catch a slide when we were young. Never run from the fire, we climb to the top. Never run from the fight, all the way to the top. Never run from the fight, yeah, we rise to the top. Now nothing's gonna stop me. I'm going faster, wanna break away. I love the way it feels. It's the adrenaline, we're going all the way. 'Cause we never ever going down. You got me walking through the fire. We don't catch a slide when we were young. Never run from the fight, yeah, we climb to the top. Never run from the fight, all the way to the top. Never run myself, wanna break away. I love the way it feels. It's the adrenaline, we go all the way. 'Cause we never
So 1 minute na lang guys. Game na.
You got me walking through the fire. We don't catch you slip.
Blacklist International versus BTK.
Never run from the fire.
Ano kayang meaning ng BTK?
Never run from the fight all the way to the top.
Si Wise.
Never run from the fight, just rise to the top. I'm on a rush now.
Support to support.
That's my focus. I need some ice, you gotta cool me
Offlaner sa
down.
offlaner.
I feel my nirvana coming closer. You got me waiting for you. We're chasing trophies, got me ready, don't you worry. I feel the power, I'm the champion. You got me running for the glory. Good to let
Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Mobile Legends Bang Bang M3 World Championships. The score is currently 1-1 between Blacklist International versus the North American counterparts in BTK. Remember that you can be watching this live, and it is presented to you by TikTok Live. Not to mention that all of this is supported by the Singaporean Tourism Board and finally powered by Muntun. We've got a banger of a best of 5 series so far, and more action awaits us as we move in towards game number 3. My name is Gideon Q here on the desk with Miracle as well as Wolf. So far, thoughts about the games currently standing 1-1.
Thoughts right now, I mean, to be honest, I have no thoughts. I feel like both of these teams, they're just really insane, and that's something that no one expected. So I'm just really glad that we are able to witness 1-1 right now. BTK dominating the first game and Blacklist dominating the second.
So me and Gideon were actually talking about this, and Gideon talked about how we did not expect this, the victory at least for one game for BTK to happen in game 1 against an Estes and a Hadid. That really was surprising. But game number 2, they have, you know, the troubleshoot was there from Blacklist International, and we're back to kind of a false best of 3 in a way.
A false best of 3?
Yeah.
No. This is the best of 5. Only the team that gets those 3 wins is going to make a difference. Guys, just in case, if you don't know, if you want to be looking like a stylish person, like the MVP, and be that MVP for both skill as well as style, check things out with Frank Debit Card. With over 60 designs, you can pick the one that screams your personality or your dreams. Just like
So
how
guys,
BTK is
magsisimula
able
na
to
yung
snatch
game
number
3.
1 from Blacklist International. We'd like to thank you guys, Frank by OCBC, for making it all possible here. But that identity that we were talking about here coming in from BTK, they are still putting a lot of investment in MOBA Zane here. And now, Fire Chicken, the moment you take away that Beatrix, the question is, will the side laners really come up online, or are they still looking for a potential, hey, can we drag this game out?
Exactly. That's one of the things that we can talk about right now, because the thing is, for the side of BTK, what makes that first game really work from them in terms of the draft is that they have multiple winning lanes, not just the mid lane, but also that gold lane. With the Beatrix going up against the Harith, Harith is always going to have a tough time going up against someone like that. You know, and that's the reason they were able to snowball in the early phase. That's the reason they were able to rotate a lot faster without compromising their own lanes. But in the second game, that's exactly what happened. We saw BTK still playing with the same style as game number one, but they don't have the heroes necessary to make that happen. You can see the Esmeralda went to the top side. They got 2 initial kills, but they're losing so much by doing that. It's actually OHEB picking up a lot of gold from that bottom side turret.
There's so many
Edward, my bad.
Exactly, yeah. So many mistakes that Blacklist International actually punished from BTK. For example, the first group up from BTK was all in good. I mean, they were able to get like 2 kills, whatnot. But then again, they lost on some of the lanes because of that. Other turret and shields were given to members of Blacklist International, for example, for Edward. And up top lane, when BTK tried to engage against the bubble of Blacklist International, not only did they lose their turret, they also gave free kills to OHEB. And from then on, OHEB was unstoppable. This Alice given so much farm, as well as the fact that he got kills, and then eventually get more kills afterwards. He was, unkillable at a certain point in time.
Yeah, absolutely unkillable here. And no matter how much anti-healing you have, in the dominance ices as well as the necklace of Durances, it's just forcing you to put money elsewhere instead of that raw damage. Now, we still have 2 minutes on, we have 2 minutes on the clock here. Let's talk about win conditions here, because even for BTK, I'm not sure whether they're going to change things up. They have been a little bit of a tunnel vision on the bans, as well as just not overall banning Matilda as well as Estes. Victor with lane priority, though, has been working out quite well.
Yeah. For me, the win condition for BTK, if they really want to take back the momentum on their side, maybe just get their hands on the Beatrix. Obviously, of course, if their second pick, the Blacklist International will take that first. But I think the trade wasn't as optimal as you would expect. They went in for Esmeralda and Farsa. Farsa is good, but Esmeralda, maybe not so good.
I feel like the Esmeralda is good, but you need to have a winning lane. If you already picked the Esmeralda in the first phase, you need to pick maybe another laner on the side lanes, whatever you put the Esmeralda in, just the opposite lane, you need to have that winning, right? The thing is, when they first pick Esmeralda, this Esmeralda is going to 100% lose because Blacklist knows that they can counter it. They pick up the Barretts instantly. Even if they pick up any other hero, that they can just go for a counter, just an early game dominant hero. But the thing is, they picked up a weak side gold laner as well in the Lunox. So both lanes losing, they're gonna have to make a lot of compromises to make these plans happen.
Yeah, because unlike first game, right, they picked up Beatrix as well as the Cho and Lilia in the first phase. So you still don't know which lanes they will go, right? So it's still very flexible, very adjustable. But when you look at their draft in game number 2, they pick up Esmeralda, Farsa, and Lunox. Surely you know that the Farsa or Lunox will be the gold or the mid laners, right? And of course, Esmeralda will be in that XP lane. So you know now what you are dealing with if you're looking at BTK's draft. So maybe the real win condition of draft is to be flexible in the first stage.
Flexible within the first couple of picks. I think the bigger question is who's going to be on the blue side and who's going to be on the red side. I think that really helps predetermine whether or not you're going to have that sort of priority or not. Arguably, I would like to see whether BTK is going to ever go in towards that blue side. See what their first picks and especially when it comes down to the bans, how are things going to change? Maybe that could get another win, steal them that win, and shake things up against Blacklist International.
Absolutely, and one notable thing again from the side of BTK is that they picked up the Bauman in the last phase with 4 magic damage heroes.
Yeah,
that's the thing that makes it so easy to itemize. You can see, OHEB, he was super dominant, yes, because of his mechanical prowess, but also because of the itemization. He didn't really need any physical defense. He went in for full magical defense. As you can see, he was able to sustain everyone's damage one by one. It was a triple kill in the bottom side and a 1v3, and that was all because of the one-dimensional
damage source
from the side of BTK.
Well, speaking of which, BTK now on the blue side with Blacklist International on the red side. BTK banning out the Estes, the Rafaela, and also the Clint locking in the Beatrix for themselves, which worked out great in game number 1 as Blacklist International once again focusing down on these marksmen. Roger, Yishinshin, as well as the Natan.
So the Eve is open for Blacklist International, and they're glad they picked that up. It has been banned by BTK the past 2 games. Now, interestingly, BTK banned out the Estes. They have respected it. Of course, they won game number 1 against it. Maybe they're saying, okay, we won it once. Let's not push our luck anymore. Let's just straight up ban it out. And now, Blacklist International, I would love to see the Eve from their side. Maybe a Cho even as well.
arguably even the Cho.
Both of them seemingly pretty good here, and well, as you mentioned, even Cho instantly, you got it right on the head there, Wolf.
Wow, okay. This is so Blacklist.
This is so Blacklist. Truly Blacklist indeed.
Absolutely, man. This is so Blacklist. Again, it is going to be the Yves and the Cho. Two signature picks as well coming in from the side of Blacklist, but let's see what they respond with because the Esmeralda, like we mentioned, sure, in the first game, we didn't really see it counter anyone, but this time around, it is the Yves. So there is a particular reason to why we're seeing the Esmeralda, and that's what I love to see from this BTK squad. But what do they want to take here? Is it too risky, perhaps, to go for a jungle in this phase? Because the thing is, Blacklist, they have targeted 3 jungle bans already, right? Do Blacklist International want to take more? And the question is, BTK, will they want to take it away? Take some heroes first? No. The answer is no. They get the Farsa for just to round up the first phase, and now Blacklist has the opportunity to limit those heroes once again for Mobazane.
Personally, I like what BTK is trying to do here, and we already see that Aldous is going to
Nako,
get
Aldous.
locked in for the side of Blacklist International. This is really going to shake things up because currently BTK still
I
lacking
think
a jungler
Aldous
here.
yung ano,
Blacklist pretty flexible on
core
who their jungler
nila.